KCPS Homeroom. I'm your host today, Erica Mabian, the CTE iSpark Coordinator, and I'm here for Real World Learning with Leanne Taylor-Knight of the Foundation. We are so excited to have us with our special guest today. And so, Leanne Taylor-Knight, will you please tell me about the DeBruce Foundation and your support to work with students?
Erica, thank you so much for having me and hosting today. It's my pleasure to share with you that the DeBruce Foundation is a national foundation located here in Kansas City who is dedicated to expanding pathways to economic growth in our country. In other words, we're trying to change the way people pursue careers. Specifically for students, we're helping them become aware of and affirm the things they do well and the things they like to do, that intersection, and how those align with work opportunities in the future of careers. We actually have an assessment called the Agile Work Profiler. It's free for everyone to take and only takes 10 minutes. It's good not only for students, but also for adults. And somebody can learn about what they do well, what they like to do, and more about how to expand their career opportunities, knowing what we like to call their agilities.
Wow, that sounds exciting. I think I may want to take an agilities. This sounds so important for students and kind of even giving them a pathway into learning about and exploring their interests in STEM and STEAM. Could you tell us a little bit more about those skills?
Absolutely. So the agilities are work activities that are used across every single job in the economy, just in differing amounts. So for example, if we were thinking about some STEM occupations, the agility of working with information, like working with data and working with technology, would be really, really important. We would also think about maybe an operating nurse coordinator in an operating room. She might have the agility of managing, because part of what she has to do is manage all that is coming through that OR. And so the different agilities present themselves in different amounts in every single job in the career, STEM careers included. Particularly in STEM, we know that we need to help people get interested in those careers that are coming, that are here now, but also in the future. And one of the great things about agilities is you can grow and develop your agility. So they don't stay stagnant. And with all of the STEM careers and all of the changes that are coming in the future of work, it's important that we as individuals recognize what we're good at doing, being aware of that, and thinking about how our agilities can pivot us into new opportunities as those new occupations arrive in STEM and other fields. Exactly as you said, expanding career pathways is what we care about.
It is so important for real world learning and making it applicable to what students are learning and experiencing on a daily basis. Not just at school, but also at home. So I'm really interested in what can families and teachers do to really encourage students to explore their interests, to take those risks, and to try something new.
Well, I absolutely believe in the crossover of curiosity and fun while we are getting those experiences and those exposures. And like you said, it's everything from you're going through the grocery store with your child and you're actually talking about the choices that you're making and what's going into that basket. And then, right on into how we're prepping those things in the kitchen. And so talking about everything that you're doing with your children. And there's really a great opportunity that the DeBruce Foundation is helping to sponsor coming May 1 through 10. And that is Remake Learning Days.
We're so excited.
I know that you are, as a Spark Quarter, are one of our mini grant recipients. We have over 45 organizations who've gotten mini grants, and we're really looking to increase access to hands-on learning experiences that can happen across the Kansas City metropolitan area, where families, people of all ages, can experience together that curiosity and that fun while they're exploring STEM, and in our world, while they're developing their agilities and learning more about what they like to do and what they're good at doing.
That's so exciting. I am, even though I'm hosting that day, there are 10 whole days. So I'm thinking about like making a map and just going from one part of the city to the other part of the city, experiencing and just engulfing myself in all of those activities. So I really appreciate being one of the recipients of the grant. It's going to be so exciting and a really transformable time for our community and really for parents and kids to see, and for parents to see how they can help develop those agilities within their kids, and kids to see themselves different than they haven't before. So that is like an amazing opportunity. So we really appreciate you in this ecosystem for all that you all are doing to help and sponsor these activities and remake learning days. KCPS is going to be participating, as well as several districts within the community. So I know that families will be able to find something that they enjoy, or a few things that they enjoy throughout that time. So one last other thing, I was wondering about your sponsorship and some of the other things that maybe that the Bruce Foundation is doing to leverage all of the agilities and the fun and the creativity and the interests. Could you tell us anything more about some other activities you guys are working on?
Absolutely. At our website, debruce.org, and at our other website, agilities.org, educators and families can find all of our resources at no charge. So we really have everything open, and we have everything from, just take the Agile Work Profiler to take the Agile Work Profiler and use some of our Career Explorer tools, use some of our career and Education Explorer tools. Do Draw Your Future with Agilities. We have a video that you can actually draw out where you are now and the reality that you would like to have, the vision that you have for your future, and how to take 3 big, bold steps with that using your agilities. So we have lots of things and resources all available and free to the public. We also welcome organizations and educators like yourselves and others to contact us by, again, debruce.org, fill out a Connect card, tell us what you're interested in doing, and we're looking to partner with other entities who care about expanding pathways to economic growth and opportunity, or really changing the way people are pursuing their careers today, opening up pathways for young people all the way through adults.
It's so amazing. I just cannot know how important this is for students as an educator and a parent. And I was thinking, where was this when I was growing up? I know, as we know more, we do better. And so I'm really grateful for all that the Bruce Foundation is doing and the leadership that you're providing for them to provide these opportunities for students and parents. And I'm sure they're going to go over to agilities.org and have that little assessment so they can discover more about themselves and where they're wanting to go. And we're going to be wrapping up in just a few seconds, but I'm wanting to tell you that I really appreciate you being on our real world learning episode of KCPS Homeroom. And if you have any last thoughts about real world learning and the application of any of those things, you have any closing thoughts or any other comments that you want to give us today?
My pleasure for being here. I just encourage everyone to get out there and work together on developing your agilities and expanding career pathways. And we do that by having real world learning experiences.
That's so wonderful. Thank you for being with me today, Miss Leanne Taylor Knight from the Bruce Foundation. And this is Erica Mabian from KCPS Homeroom. I'm your iSpark CTE coordinator, and we welcome you to participate in Remake Learning Days, May 1st through May 10th, all across your Kansas City metropolitan area. Just Google Remake Learning Days Kansas City, and you'll find all the list of things that we're doing in our area to build those agilities and find out all of those ways that you can make real world learning happen for you and your family. Teachers and parents are welcome to enjoy this time and discover themselves and discover their students. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you next time on the episode of Real World Learning. Have a great day.
Hey Kansas City, what's going on? It's Chef Tom over at the Cardinal Cafe here at Manual Culinary Center. Today, we are going to make some killer tacos, okay? And not only that, but we are going to make awesome pico de gallo. Okay, this really is super easy. We're going to start out with some knife work. So what do we got to do? That's right, we got to sharpen our knives. Every single time. A dull knife is a dangerous knife. We've got our pan heating up right now for our hamburger. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to get that right in here. We're going to start breaking it up a little right off the bat. And while that's starting to brown, we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut up our garlic and our onion quick. Now here's the thing. As long as I have your attention, we can use this type of a seasoning for our taco meat, but not today, okay? Today, we're gonna make this all from scratch. So here we go, chopping up this really nice fresh garlic. And as I said before, the garlic doesn't have to be minced. You can leave a nice sized chunk of garlic, okay? I'm gonna get that right in here. We're going to keep on moving this hamburger around a little. And sometimes they'll call this just-in-time cooking because by the time I can make my pico and cut up all my ingredients, this hamburger and onions and stuff should be done. Remember how we cut up an onion? Right? Bring it across and then start slicing. Get to the end. Okay? Take her, give her a little cross chop into the pan. Yeah. Now honestly, this onions and garlic smells so good right now. I'm just going to keep it moving around in this pan. So, taco meat is typically made with spices from Mexico. All right, so today our spices are going to include cumin, salt, paprika, black pepper, garlic powder, chili powder, onion powder, and then just some cayenne. And the thing is that really, if you're making tacos at home, you can buy any kind of taco seasoning that you like. But honestly, in our sitting here at the school, we have all the spices here, so it doesn't make a lot of sense for us to go out and buy anything else. So as soon as this browns a little bit more, we're going to go ahead and dump our seasonings in. But as long as we've got a minute, let's go ahead and start making our pico, okay? So this is really important. A jalapeno, when you cut into a jalapeno, there's something in here called capsaicin, and that's what makes it spicy. Now, if you don't want your jalapeno all that spicy, the best way to do it is to just go down the edge like this and not cut out the seeds or the white membrane. And of course, if you want it spicier, you can cut out those seeds and membranes, but then you're just going to take this, give her a little cut, turn it, cut it again, okay, and right into our bowl. In this bowl, you're going to see in just a minute or two, we're going to have fresh, delicious pico, just like is in this bowl that we made a little earlier. We're going to go to our onion, give that a little chop, turn it, chop it. Now honestly, I don't expect people to be this quick with a knife. Sometimes I surprise myself that I'm this quick with a knife. But this is truly what I've been doing all my life. Okay, we'll give our meat a stir here. See it starting to brown up nice, cooking our onions, cooking our garlic. Just gonna let her keep on cooking. And you'll notice the spatula looks like a rubber spatula, and it is, but this is a heat treated spatula, so it will not melt. Okay? Give these tomatoes a cut. Now, you have seen me use a serrated knife in the past to cut tomatoes. But when I'm slicing, I really prefer my French knife. Because as you'll see in a second, when we pick up ingredients off the board, this French knife will help us to grab up some of this juice as well. See that? We're just going to cut up the other side real quick. We're going to get that in there like that. We're going to grab our cilantro. And this we just have to break down a little. This doesn't have to be super fine chopped. That's all we really need to do with the cilantro. And the thing is, you can smell every single ingredient in there already. We're going to take 1 second, give this hamburger a stir. And now, see our hamburger looks nice and browned, right? We're going to go ahead and we're going to make a little room. We're going to pop in these spices. Wow. Immediately, when those spices go in, it gives off a beautiful scent. We're just going to stir this up good. Look at that. So that is good looking taco meat. I'm telling you what. We're going to go ahead and we're going to shut this down. And we're going to cut a lime. Remember how we did our lemon before? We cut it not near the seeds. We're doing the exact same thing with the lime. Okay, we're going to squeeze right in here. Then we're going to take our spoon right here. We're just going to stir this up. And guess what? You just made pico de gallo. And honest to goodness, that's all it takes. Now some people might throw in a little salt and a little pepper, and that's fine. But I really, really love it as fresh as I can get it. Okay? Look at that. So, we're going to take 1 second and we're going to wipe down. We're going to come right back and do a couple plates, all right? Be right back. All right, look at how nice this taco meat looks. All right, so realistically, we've got just about everything we need for tacos. We just got to cut up a little lettuce. We're just going to take this lettuce right down the middle like this. And we're going to take it. We're going to cut it real fine, okay? We're just going to shred it. Do a little bit more. You know, one of the things about tacos is fresh, fresh, fresh. So you'll notice that we've got our meat, we've got our lettuce. We're gonna go ahead with the fresh pico and not worry about tomatoes, and then we've got some cheese here. So when we build our tacos, we're just gonna take our plate and a couple of shells. Now, don't ever be shy about putting your shells in the oven for about 5 minutes on around 300 degrees, okay? We're gonna start out with some lettuce in here so that the moisture from our meat doesn't get our shell. Okay? Then we're gonna go ahead and take a spoon, get some taco meat, and get it right in here. We've got a couple of different kinds of shells here, just in case you want to be fancy. There's a nacho cheese shell and a regular shell, okay? Now, we're gonna get some cheese on there. Then we're gonna finish these babies up with a little bit of pico. Yeah. And this, my friends, that is some delicious Sunday afternoon tacos. I hope you try this and I hope you enjoy it. You know, always remember, if there's something you want us to make that you don't see, you can email us at tbelil, that's TBELISLE, at kcpublicschools.org. You know, like I say, I hope you love this, because this is really one of my favorites. Y'all have a great day.
I chose manual because it's challenging and fun and it can help me with college.
I chose manual because I wanted to get a jump start in my career with culinary arts.
I chose manual to acquire skills I'd use in real life.
I chose manual because I want to be an ER doctor and be an EMT is my first step.
Kickstart your future today at Manual Career and Technical Center. Manual is open for all 11th and 12th grade students in both Kansas and Missouri. Learn more today at enrollkc.org/manual or call 816-418-5200.
Good morning, Kansas City. Welcome to an awesome episode today of Life After KCPS Real World Friday. I'm your host, Chris Odom. Today we're meeting with an awesome person who I briefly met and our experiences in these KCPS schools, who then went on these days to be in charge of one of these KCPS schools. So he is with me this morning to talk to you a little bit about his time in our school system and kind of his path after high school. And so let's just start there and we can kind of unwind what's going on today with Principal Neal Sr.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So life after graduation. So proud Lincoln Tiger, graduated from Lincoln in class of 2006. Also half a Pirate as well, because I also went to Paseo High School for 2.5 years as well. And so upon graduation, I had an opportunity to pick my program, or I'll say field of choice. And I was actually selected to go to UMKC to participate in the Institute for Urban Education, a program designed not only to give back, reach back, but to focus on uplifting and supporting social justice and improving education for students within the urban community. And so I spent 4 years at UMKC, then another 2 years at UMKC for my master's degree. And I had an experience to work at a local charter school before coming back to the district. I say coming home is what I'll state, coming home to coming back to the district to actually educate students and relate to students to within communities that I grew up in myself.
Fantastic. I'm also a 3-time graduate of UMKC, and it's kind of exciting because really then I worked at Paseo, really far away from UMKC. If you know Kansas City, basically across the street, right? And you also frequented Paseo and then found your way to Lincoln, and that I think there's just some really powerful synergy going on in our city. UMKC works more closely with us these days. In 2002, when I came out, I can remember there were no such actual programs really. So I'm really excited to meet with you and talk with you and know I didn't necessarily know that about you, but so let's talk about kind of where you are these days, and then how you knew to be in this line of work. What was it that told you after high school that this is what you wanted to do?
Well, I will tell you, actually how it kind of led into education. I actually had a superintendent hearing my senior year of high school. And part of my hearing conditions, I actually had to support and mentor two local students at Longin Elementary. Longin Elementary was open at the time at the district. And I actually remember mentoring two students by the name of Chris and Jordan. And I never forget mentoring them. So every year, you know, at Lincoln, you have to have those 100 hours of community service to be able to receive that diploma. And so with that being said, every Tuesday and Thursday after school, I would leave Lincoln, I would go over to Longin Elementary, and I would sit with Chris and Jordan. We have some similar stories, just kind of with our upbringings, our siblings, and some just, I would say, some shared experience that we've had in relation to trauma, just growing up in the inner city within Kansas City. And actually was at their MAP pep rally where they got to give me a card and, you know, thank you for, you know, working with them. And it really almost broke me down in tears. I'm not an emotional guy at all. And so with that being said, I remember Jordan calling me his hero and just the inspiration. I saw the impact that I was able to make on those two young men's lives. And that really motivated me and pushed me to that field of education. And so that's my why. I love to work with kids. I love to give back. And so with that being said, that really pushed me to not only know I wanted to go into education, but have a strong focus on urban education. I just had a strong push to really come back and give back to my city that has given so much to me. And so I would say that's my drive. That's my passion. Again, I was an at-risk child. I did have a superintendent's hearing my senior year of high school, number of suspensions, at risk, kind of similar to Dr. Bedell as well. And so I'm just thankful, you know, for the opportunities that were presented for me and learning from, you know, mistakes I'm not proud of today that have kind of really propelled me to be in this situation to where I really want to not only help back and give back, but just know that any kid can do anything they want. And you never should count out a kid, because I would tell you, if they would have heard I had a superintendent hearing, then I go on to be principal in the same district. It's almost unheard of.
Fantastic. And one reason possibly of doing this show is for that very conversation to then take place when people watch this episode. And when students are thinking these things, we don't always hear them share with us about themselves and the opportunities they may think are present or not, or actually may not be as present as need be. So it's a great pleasure to do these shows, and everyone who comes on here serves such a valuable role. And I appreciate everything you're saying. I'm so behind the same mission. Obviously, I've been working in this district too, and I graduated here, and I had a very like calling, you know, and that I wanted to work here more so than some of the other districts that are surrounding us, because of some of the things that I might have experienced there that were not so much like what I did at Lincoln Prep when I went there. I can remember observing to decide if I was going to teach in Kansas or Missouri and which schools in Missouri. And it got to be, you know, I needed to be here. So after 21 years, I'm glad I'm here. I was telling somebody else that. Why are you glad you're here? Let's throw that at you. Because I think we've had less chance to tell people sometimes, as people who, you know, may not get heard from. When I talk to all these students, that all of these interviews, everyone's glad that they're from here, but we haven't heard from them as much, right? So why tell us, why is that? And then why are you glad that you're from here?
I'll just say Kansas City is a great city. I know so often we have negative spotlights that are put on us, especially in communities similar as the communities I grew up in, communities I still reside in. So I'll just tell you, my grandmother's house was 8 blocks from Banneker. I'm right there off 67th and Myrtle. I grew up right off of 44th and Benton, and I'm proud of that. Central's my neighborhood school. And leave it to my mom. I wanted to go to Central, but she had other thoughts, and she pushed me to Lincoln. But I'm glad I went to Lincoln because I'm a proud Lincoln Preppy as well, to follow in the footsteps of my sister. And so with that being said, I'm just excited. I tell people I'm living my dream, have an opportunity to come back and really give back and support students who have similar experiences as myself, because I'm a strong believer that everybody needs a champion. Rita Pearson has a TED Talk called "Every Child Just Needs a Champion." And so often, every kid from the inner city does not have a champion. On the side that I say the trouble I ran into, but I also can remember the educators who were for me in school, and I also can remember the educators that doubted me. And I actually remember one of my administrators in high school that said I would never graduate high school. And so, with that being said, that really pushed my story, and I don't mind sharing my story, pushed my story to say, you know what? Any kid can do whatever they want to be. Any kid can be whatever they want to be, excuse me. They can do whatever they want to do. My sister also graduated from Lincoln in 2002. She this month became the first female and first African-American vice president of her engineering company. First, huge, major corporation. Just think, she grew up right off of 44th and Benton, just like me, same house and everything. And so my message to the kids, and why I'm excited that I'm here today, is that you can be anything you want to be in life. You have the choice, you have the opportunities. You just have to go out and you have to reach for them. But I'm glad I'm back. I'm glad to be able to serve. I actually applied to the district 2 years before I came back. I just don't think we were hiring vice principals at the time. I would have came back earlier. But with that being said, I'm just excited to have an opportunity to educate and within the system. I received my educational foundation, and again, to work with students throughout similar neighborhoods that I grew up in myself. And so I'm a proud Kansas Cityan. I tell people we're not only home to the Chiefs, but we're also home to the National World War I Museum, 18th and Vine. We have a proud city. And so with that being said, I'm also just proud to be in the heart of the city, and I'm working with students who need us the most.
Thank you. Very well said, sir. And it's been a wonderful pleasure to have you on here with us today. We're going out into Kansas City on Real World Learning Friday here on KCPS, Life After KCPS. But in this situation, neither of us are really doing the after KCPS thing so much. We're going to keep doing the current KCPS thing, because we are currently still working there and really loving it and feeling the energy of what this city needs and wants us to do. So if you want to get a hold of KCPS, or you want to be on this show and talk about a path that you might present to someone else, we're keeping this option open throughout the rest of the season. Please reach out to me, Chris Odom, at kcpublicschools.org, and I could set you up with that opportunity. Thank you so much to our guest, Principal Neal. You've been fantastic. And, I think one of probably the youngest principal in our district's history. Did I hear that?
Close. I started principalship at 28. Close.
But you don't keep stats or anything? No, you're not.
No, I'm not keeping stats. I tell people just really just blessed with the opportunity, really living a dream. And I'm so thankful Dr. Bedell took a chance on me to just come in and be able to come in, just be good to people and just continue to serve our community. And Chris, I wanted to shout you out because I know you've been a longstanding educator in the district. Didn't have you formally at Purcell as a teacher, but definitely one of the teachers in the buildings that kids were always going to, always had a relationship with. And so I know you were popular amongst the kids as well. And so with that being said, I wanted to shout you out on this show as a former student of just having a heart and being a champion for kids in our district. So I really appreciate you for that.
Yeah, that means a lot. And that's how educators keep going. We do that for each other. We remind each other of the work we do is important. So thank you so much for that. And educators out there and young people who want to be educators, it's a good career. It's a great path. I always said you get paid to learn more for the rest of your life, and you get sent to all these amazing places to learn, and required to learn is not the way, that you would think about it. You're getting paid to learn. So continue to learn, continue to grow, find your path. And we look forward to hearing from you. Have a great day, Kansas City. Thanks again, Principal Neal.
Thank you.
Good morning, Kansas City. Welcome to another fun episode of what we're calling Life After KCPS. My name is Chris Odom, and I'm the lucky guy that gets to interview people who have gone to school in our district and, had something to say about it afterwards. So a lot of the people we've had join us have kind of recommended other people. And this is one of those very people. I interviewed Cheyenne Melton not that long ago. Oh. And she brought up this not so young man anymore, Fritz Hutchison. So he's with us today, and I knew him for a couple of years briefly when he was going to Paseo Academy and was a performer then, and somebody that just kind of got on stage with reckless abandon and never really looked back. So I think, judging by what you see in his background and all of the ephemerals there, he might still be involved with music some. So Fritz, will you tell us what's going on with you after you graduated? And what year did you graduate from Paseo Academy?
I graduated in 2010, same year as Cheyenne.
Very cool.
Hi, Cheyenne. And I have been reckless ever since. Yeah, I graduated and I did not go to college. I basically had a band and we went for it. And, you know, that bands come and go, as some people say, but the music has not stopped. So I've just been kind of focusing on that for the last decade. I've been in a big number of musical projects and played with a wide variety of people around town. And I've just been doing music in Kansas City ever since.
Wow. 10 years. That goes pretty fast, huh? Like, seems like just a few days ago, or maybe lots of a few days ago, we were hanging out doing a show at Paseo called Coffee House.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember you being part of that show, and kind of even the middle parts. Like, what I remember the most is not even the presentation, but like in between, like intermission times and down times, the band and you and everyone else were just jamming. You know, and so I think that was what you kind of brought to it. What was fun is that show kept expanding and growing and doing different things, but the collaboration that happened right in those moments, I could tell some people were going to continue on this path. So how did you know, like, that you wanted to continue? What was telling you to keep going?
Well, I mean, the whole reason I ended up at Paseo in the first place was because it was a art and performance focused school. So I just, I can't quite explain how I knew that that's what I wanted to do. I always cared about it more than anything else. When I started playing music, I was like 12 years old. And I think, you know, prior to that, I was mostly interested in skateboarding, but I started playing drums, and then like everything made sense after that. So Paseo helped me stay focused on that path throughout school. It wasn't like, oh, I can finish school and then I can do what I want. It felt very much like I was able to focus on the art that I wanted to be focused on, and then be primed to just like live a lifestyle where that is my main focus, which turned out to be pretty beneficial.
I think that's a fantastic situation to be in, and I'm envious a little bit in the way that I know I love a lot of music and arts, and I play more in the sense as a hobby, but something I can't stop either. And something that if I don't do that for a while, I can tell things well up in me. I need, to have this outlet. I need to get creative. I need to kind of let some of the world come back out in some other way.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I think, what does it feel like then to, this is the gig, right? Like if I were going to go in my basement and play, it would be in addition to most of the other things that I do, which are not creative sometimes. And but what is it like to get to use your creative side? Is it both scary and awesome, or is it, it's got to be a mixture?
Well, it's more awesome than scary. I think it gets scary when you have to rely on it in terms of income. When the business and the art mix, it gets a little stressful. And I don't want to discourage anybody in any way. And the scary thing is also what makes it pay off and feel worth it in the end, because there's no payoff without struggle of some sort. And I don't know, I haven't been a full-time musician this whole time, but I have gone through a couple of different periods, right now kind of being one of them, where I have only been a musician. There was about a 2 or 3 year stretch where it was basically all I was doing. And it was just pretty blissful, but scary because I don't know, because it almost was like too good to be true, but not very lucrative, to be honest. But living gig to gig has its own blessings and curses. It's complicated, but it is extremely worth the experience, and super fun. Amazing people, amazing places. Got to travel, Yeah.
Sure. So different versions of value of what we value and what you're valuing, and as opposed to just financially, but lots of richness and people you're around and exposure to things and places to visit. Yeah, that's fantastic.
Experience.
That's fantastic. Well, let's focus for a minute on your art form. It's not often we get to hear an artist in our own living rooms like we're going to here in just a second. Fritz is willing to play for us here in a second, but okay. if you'll tell us before you do, like in a general way, what are you trying to do with your music? Like,
well,
I don't mean professionally, I guess that too, but like what are you trying to do by being so involved in your music?
Well, for the last decade or so, I have mostly existed as a sideman and have been a drummer or a guitarist in a lot of different bands. And I recommend that to, anybody that wants to be a musician is commit yourself to other people's projects as well, because you learn so much, and join a variety of different styles of bands. I was in a country band. I was in I've been in a couple reggae bands, jazz groups, trying to play as many different kinds of music as possible, to learn all sorts of different grooves and different feelings, different emotions that can be accessible, and different group dynamics. Working with a lot of different types of people can help you figure out what kinds of people you want to be working with, or how to be assertive about your vision without being a jerk about it, or how to take direction. And there's a lot of value there. So that's mostly what I had been doing for several years. And at this point, I figured it out a little bit to the point where I thought, okay, I'm ready to be myself and to operate under my own name. And because what I really love is songwriting, as much as I love the drums and just playing and the release and the relaxation that comes from that, I love to write songs more than anything else. And so I sort of gathered up the information that I've accumulated, and I put out my first record in March of last year. It's called Wide Wild Acres. And so I've put my first album out, working on the second one now, and I am now me. And that's the goal, is to be myself.
That's very cool. Yeah. All right. Well, we're lucky to have him with us here this morning. So Kansas City, please enjoy for a moment here Fritz Hutchison.
Okay, this song is on that record. It's called Police Dogs.
And offer their reflections for disguise.
dark with trees burning. The moment of relief's coming. At least I was at the scene barking. I hope you don't believe that I'm in love. No Apollo, the invitation, information's wrong. Rob my suitcase, on my best luck, yeah. I put my spacesuit on. Show me craters, cold and ancient. Show me something strong. That the lunar module's no longer vacant, just like that it's gone. Lord knows I can't hold my breath here long enough to travel by the power of my own will to the crescent. Instead I drew into my chest a deep, long breath, and I gave no reply. Beneath the dogwood trees budding, the moment of relief's coming. At least I was at the sea barking. I hope you don't believe that I'm in love. I hope you don't believe that I'm in love. Oh no, no, oh, no, no. I hope you don't believe that I'm in love. Something like that.
Fantastic, man. Like, what a treat. I'm just sitting here like, I am jamming in my little office cubicle. So
Oh, good.
I love it. And kind of the beauty of the idea of having you on this show is that one of these interview notions was kind of inspired by kind of Tiny Desk and Bob Boylan and watching his show. And then I brought it up with our district and I said, I could probably just get a hold of a lot of people, ask them about what they're doing. We could record it on Zoom. It would cost us $0. Do you think anybody'd watch it? And what I always loved watching the Tiny Desk was now we can say we have the artist with us today by, some amazing fortune that we just heard a song by an amazing Fritz Hutchison, ladies and gentlemen, and he's here. So now we have the great honor and chance to ask him if he'd want to just tell us a little bit about that song and break it down. I don't want you to explain your work because that's not what artists do, but you're here with us. Would you be willing to share us a little bit about what you were going for in that?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, gosh, what was I thinking? That song was inspired a lot by the song "Blinded by the Light," which was written by Bruce Springsteen. I'm a huge Springsteen fan. Most people are more familiar with the Manfred Mann version, but anyway, "Blinded by the Light." That song, but the lyrics in that song, the vocal work is very busy. There's a lot of kind of internal rhyme, madman, drummers, bummers, and Indians in the summer. Every line is just jam-packed with imagery. And it doesn't really make sense unless you really take some time and try to figure out what's going on. But that's not really the point. Understanding it isn't the point so much as just experiencing it. And it's just fun. It's a fun song. And so I wanted to write something like that where the words are just like a rock skipping across water. And I wanted to write something with a busy vocal, just to kind of take a word shower, and so that's kind of where that song came from.
Sure. Thank you. That's wonderful. And I don't mean by saying that musicians have to have something come out that's this one thing. I think that's the greatest part about music is, if you're a poet, if you're a playwright, if you're sometimes these abstract emotions that are coming through have to have some other physical way to come through. But in music, that may be what's coming through, and it may actually translate and it may actually communicate without us making it tangible and explaining it to death. And so I think it's a killer song, man. It made me, while you were singing it, wonder of your influences and kind of try to predict some and hear some. So I think that's fantastic. So this is your solo project, and is it primarily you and guitar, or are there other versions of you on this project?
Well, on the recordings, I played nearly everything. I did not play the bass on most of the tracks. Ian Teeple, an amazing local musician, played bass on most of the album. I had some help on some of the keyboard parts with Kyle Little, and there are horns on the record. I cannot play a horn to save my life. And so Ariana Nemati, Teddy Krulowicz, and Trevor Turla all contributed some really fabulous horn parts throughout the album. So, but other than that, I love to play drums and I love to play guitar, and I haven't figured out how to clone myself yet. So I have I'm really lucky to have a really awesome, amazing band that plays with me live. But the studio is the chance that I have to sort of imagine a very specific sound and all the parts fitting together in a very specific way. And so I like to play as much as I can in the studio. But the other side of the coin, which is every bit as fun and exciting, is hearing what someone else brings to the table. And then every show we play is a little bit different, and the songs sound different live than on the recording. That's very exciting to me. So yes and no. Live, it's usually me and a guitar, and then a coterie of wonderful musicians.
Very cool. Well, I'm going to look for next place I can find you, because I think I would enjoy coming out to see. So Kansas City, we have a great show here for you. If you haven't been with us until just now, we're with Fritz Hutchison, and we're going to have to close this interview down and call it, another great episode of KCPS Real World Learning on Fridays. And the goal of this show was definitely for students to see that there are things that happen after high school, some of which you might plan on, some of which might find your way into its existence.
Most of it you won't plan on.
Most of it you won't plan on. And what we're experiencing is everybody I interview has just poured out with so much wealth of knowledge looking back. So no challenge, Fritz, but pretend you're back there, 11th grader.
Ooh.
What did you need to hear? What could you tell a person who is kind of coming out into the world about what they are going to go off and accomplish? No challenge, because that's certainly a lot to go out and battle in 2020 and in 2021. It's certainly starting off as a similar battle to maintain sanity, feel like you're supporting yourself and getting out of life what you want. So you seem to be doing that in some degree, and I'm super excited for that. What do you think makes that work?
Well,
not to oversimplify life by any means.
Life. I think what I would tell myself, and this almost goes against what I was saying earlier, because I was recommending so much, and I still do, that you would join every other band you can, explore as many styles. I think that you absolutely should do that, but I also think that it is important, and I think it's extremely important to kind of keep your eyes on the prize and think about what is just stay true to yourself and true to your heart, and the kind of music or the kind of art that you really want to put out in the world. And it's easy. I can say it's easy because it happened to me. I got pretty heavily distracted for a few years with playing other people's music, and that's not a bad thing. And some people are born to do that, and are at their most truest selves in the position of helping another's composition come to life. Not everybody's a composer, and not everybody is a a technician, and those two things, when they're married to each other, produce just incredible stuff. So, you know, figure out where you fit in, and don't lose sight of that. And, you know, playing music that isn't exactly what you want to make all the time is very, very important, because it helps you figure out what it is that you do want to make. But don't lose sight of what the kind of feeling that you want to create in a room with people, and go for that feeling, and try to incorporate the other lessons that you learn along the way into that.
Fantastic. All right, Kansas City, you heard that. That's the truth as Fritz knows it. And I agree. I would say I'm listening, just shaking my head, that many, many years ago, when I went into the field of education at 21 years old, I had a pretty strong hypothesis that I would still value that now that I'm 43, and very proud, I guess would be the word, to have been involved with a lot of young people in the city for a lot of years in a row, and to hear all of their stories. So it's so rewarding to do these, and I sneak a little bit for me in the back of my brain, so I can remember that this is valuable and important work, and then spread it to other people who keep this message of Kansas City. There are wonderful people who come from our schools, who live and breathe in our cities every day, and sometimes we don't hear of them. So if you know a person that would be a great person to point out to other fellow KCPS students across the district, please reach out to me. My name is Chris Odom, and I work for Kansas City Public Schools, and we will set up a time to do a similar interview. Fritz, it's been totally awesome. You're inspiring, man. Keep it going.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you.
You're going to make me go down in my basement and start a composition or something here.
Right on.
And I wonder, I tell you, I'm the opposite. I am the guy who practiced secretly for 23 years. I've played at Davies Uptown 4 times, and then it caught fire.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So somebody was trying to stop me or something, but but I love it. I tell you, had I been doing that the last 20 years, I don't know, but I'm not done, man. So want to collaborate, write something together, please let me know. I'm huge fan of the creative process when people get together that you might not expect, and they produce some amazing stuff. So you're doing great things. I love your music. I'm not just saying that.
Thank you.
I wouldn't just say that because I love musicians and I love the art form, but I really do think you found something in there that's yours, that's really got cool patterning and really good timing and really strong lyrical presence. So keep it going, man. That is so awesome. I want to come see you at Red Rocks or something.
Okay.
All right.
I'll book it.
Okay, deal.
Thank you so much.
It's been wonderful talking with Fritz, and you guys out there in Kansas City have a wonderful day.